Welcome to Module 3, Culture Integration and Training. In this session, we will cover Lesson 3.3, Departmental Cross-Training and Inter-Departmental Service Flow. Standard hotel operations often function as a collection of independent, specialized departments simply working under a shared roof. That perspective fails to account for the actual requirements of modern hospitality, which relies on these units functioning as a highly interdependent ecosystem. When service delivery fails in a high-quality environment, the breakdown typically occurs in the gaps between teams. Service failures rarely originate deep within the internal workflows of a single department. Organizational friction is generated when isolated departments attempt to pass tasks forward without understanding the constraints of the receiving unit. The exact seam where one department's output becomes another department's input is the point of service handover. The structural integrity of these transfer points dictates the quality of the overall guest experience. Operational excellence requires identifying these handovers, removing the friction caused by silos, and mapping the guest journey as a continuous flow. This is achieved through a two-phase training architecture, starting with departmental cross-training in Phase 2 and concluding with inter-departmental service flow in Phase 3. Eradicating friction requires the systematic removal of departmental isolation to create a continuous delivery network across the entire property. Phase 2 focuses on departmental cross-training, where staff spend structured time working alongside colleagues in different, strategically related departments. In one application, a front office agent spends a full shift physically working with the housekeeping team. This exposes the agent to the physical time constraints and practical challenges of room cleaning and status updates. Conversely, the housekeeping attendant observes the complex digital inputs required to navigate the property management system from the front desk. When a room attendant urgently needs a status update, they now understand the technical hurdles currently delaying the front desk agent. We apply the same logic to food and beverage servers, who spend time embedded with the kitchen stewarding team. The servers gain a first-hand appreciation for the strict sanitation standard operating procedures required to maintain kitchen safety. The goal of this cross-training is not to turn employees into experts capable of doing both jobs. Instead, the true objective is the cultivation of deep empathy and mutual respect between these highly distinct labor forces. This psychological shift reduces the internal resentment that often builds during high-volume pressure periods. Mutual respect translates into clearer communication regarding time expectations and task prioritization. Empathy alone is insufficient. It must be operationalized into a measurable procedure, which requires the transition to Phase 3. Phase 2 integrates technically competent, isolated workers into a collaborative network capable of navigating the hotel's broader operational realities. Phase 3 introduces interdepartmental service flow training. This is the practical rehearsal of procedures that require the coordination of two or more departments. By physically tracing the guest journey, teams identify and secure the precise points of service handover. We can examine this through the maintenance request flow. The sequence begins with a guest initiating a repair request at the front desk. The digital handover occurs when the front desk logs the request into the PMS. The chief engineer reviews this digital log and dispatches the physical technician to the room. Finally, the front desk uses the completed system log to conduct a follow-up with the guest, closing the loop. Without rehearsing this exact sequence, a request can easily get lost in the void between the front desk and engineering. This becomes more complex in a VIP arrival sequence. The sales team initiates the flow by securing the booking and documenting highly specific guest preferences. These preferences must splinter into distinct procedures across 4 separate departments. Housekeeping executes precise amenity placement based on that data. Simultaneously, food and beverage prepares specific dietary accommodations or customized welcome offerings. A single failure at any one of these simultaneous handover points completely compromises the seamless quality of the entire VIP experience. These simulated scenarios reveal hidden bottlenecks that individual departmental training cannot expose. An isolated guest request is a catalyst for a coordinated, multi-departmental web that must be explicitly mapped and rehearsed. Executing Phase 3 simulations requires both respective department heads to be physically present. Their presence validates the handover procedure and allows leadership to identify and resolve any conflicting standard operating procedures. The HR leader acts as a facilitator and objective auditor during these rehearsals. The auditor's focus remains strictly on the connection points between roles, rather than the isolated tasks within the departments. Auditing these handovers also requires verifying the use of shared technology. The PMS, or digital communication tool, acts as the objective ledger for every interdepartmental handover. Digital logging ensures that when friction occurs, leadership can trace the exact point of data degradation. Process rehearsal, supported by leadership auditing and technological tracking, eliminates operational conflicts before they ever reach the guest. Phase 2 builds the human capacity to respect operational constraints, while Phase 3 builds the systemic architecture to execute those constraints. From the guest's perspective, the property functions as a single, continuous brand continuum. This structural unity is completely invisible to the guest when functioning correctly, but it becomes glaringly obvious if a handover fails. Correctly implemented cross-training correlates with a sustained reduction in guest complaints stemming from internal miscommunication. In high-volume hospitality, operational excellence is achieved by prioritizing systemic service flow over departmental isolation.